Hi, I'm Rob, and in this Gems of War video, I'm going to take a look at the latest Mythic, Deathlock Dreilak. Quite an interesting Mythic. At first glance, it sounds a little bit underwhelming. Curse and Death mark an enemy, deal damage to all enemies below them, then summon an Aberrath. The traits are Demonic Pact, 25% chance to summon an Ancient Horror on death, Undying, immune to poison, disease, lycanthropy, and Death mark, and Summoning Ritual, gain 8 magic when an ally is summoned. So I'm going to look at a couple of different ways we can use this troop. That Summoning Ritual at the end, the gain 8 magic, doesn't sound like it can be that powerful, but there is a way to actually speed it up and make it pretty effective, as I'll show in the second team in particular, which is a lot of fun, but the first team can be really quick as well. So let's take a look at these teams. So here's the first team. I do quite like this team, but it's the second team which is the most fun, but we'll come to that in a second. We're in Necromancer for this. Some okay traits, not fantastic for this particular team, but it does work okay. But the talent trees is where this is really, really good, especially towards the end. Gloom is not too fantastic. Chill of Death is okay. But from now on, all these champion talents are really good. Anti-Magic Sphere, reduce damage from spells by 20%. Mana Source, start battles with 50%. Stealthy, cannot be targeted by spells. Swift Curse, death mark a random enemy at the start of battle, and Rising Shadows, 7% chance to assassinate the last enemy when another enemy dies. Now both of these things can happen at once, because you get that death mark right at the start. If that comes in on, say, the next round and they die, you then have a 7% chance to just kill someone else, and it can happen. It's happened before, it's really good when it works, and can make it pretty quick at the same time. Banner for this, I'm going for the Gate banner from Hellgate. +2 brown, +1 red, -1 yellow. Now the way this team works is pretty straightforward. Altogether we have potentially the option to have 3 enemies on death mark. And with these two it doesn't actually matter even if they've got impervious, because Deathlock curses and death marks an enemy and deals damage to any enemies below them. So the curse comes first, that overrides impervious. Even impervious troops are going to be death marked then when you cast that fella. And Essence of Evil inflicts all the negative status effects on an enemy, again curse included, so will apply to impervious troops. So we get the death mark at the beginning, and if we get to cast these two, we can get 2 further death marks, and they can kill enemies really, really quickly. And speaking of killing enemies really quickly, if we get this guy up, we basically have a 50-50 chance of killing another enemy absolutely instantly. Deals damage to an enemy boosted by ally and enemy deaths, then kill either the first enemy or first ally. Obviously it's better if it kills the first enemy, but if it kills the first ally, not too much bothered about that, because we can cast our Deathlock, get a summon, which is going to boost his damage. So with all those death marks going on, and this guy with a 50-50 chance of just killing someone outright, you can get a really quick game. Alright, so let's take this team out. Let's shift around a bit. Let's go to Kazior maybe. Show how this can work against teams that have fortitude and things like that. Difficulty 12. So ordinarily against these kind of troops, they're impervious. They're immune to all status effects of Devour, Lycanthropy, and Mana Burn. But that doesn't matter when you curse them first. So this is a good team against to use against dwarf type teams or anything that's got impervious. So let's see what we get here. I'll definitely take that straight away. And we'll take this one here because we're going to get some purple at the same time. Oh, that was a really good format then, and got taken away at the last moment. Alright, so when we cast our Dullahan, one of 2 things will happen. We'll do damage to an enemy, we'll do that on somebody else that's not the top troop. And then we'll kill either himself or the first enemy. Or shall I get my Essence of Evil up first? I think I'll get my Essence of Evil up first. So we do this, let's hit it on, say, Rock Roll, and the first enemy did indeed die, just like that. Kappa, you are gone, mate. So let's cast it on some people on the top troops. The advantage of that is not only are they death marked as well now, but we are protected from skulls. Any skull hits, things like that. This is going to give us a good amount of mana. We'll cast Dullahan again. If he dies because basically we have a summon ready, which is going to boost up Deathlock's power at the same time. But let's whack that on them at the same time. They did die. So let's cast this. Death Mark and a summon. Essence of Evil. Chuck it on the rock troll. They're both now death marked. Someone else has just died. If we get lucky on this 50-50 chance to just win the game, and there it is. This second team is actually rather a lot of fun to use. I've actually quite enjoyed using this. We're still in Necromancer with exactly the same champion talents, but for the banner we've gone to the proud banner of Pride Lands, and the reason is we use all the mana colours, so nothing is wasted here, which is pretty good. Now in this team we need 2 Princess Elspeths. Really important to have 2 the way this team flows, but when it gets going it's actually quite interesting how it works, and like I say, it's actually quite a lot of fun, and hopefully I'll show you why in a second. She starts battles with full mana, creates 11 gems of a chosen ally's mana colour, and just kills them. She's outright evil, but she actually kills herself as well. And she has a summon of a knight at the same time, which is pretty cool. So we've got 2 of them. For weapons wise, we're going to use Ebon's hammer, explodes magic +1 blue gems, grants a random status effect to all knights, which is important because Princess Elspeth summons a knight herself, and this weapon actually summons a knight at the same time, so you can see why that makes sense to use it. As we know, Deathlock Dreilak curses and death marks an enemy, then deals damage to all enemies below, then summons Abarath. But we're going to make use of that, gain 8 magic after an ally is summoned with this. And the reason is, we'll cast Elspeth on herself. If there's any 4 matches at the start of the game, we'll absolutely take them, try and charge the team up. But then she'll cast this on herself, kill herself, get a knight replacement where she was, which is going to give a small boost to our damage there and then. But then we can use that first troop as a meat shield while we get Elspeth charged up again, which usually doesn't take long because we can cast our Ebon's hammer and repeat the process. Quite often the troop up top will get charged straight away because of the mana gen and the cascades that happen after you cast your Elspeth, and if the spell is good and it's beneficial to the team, you can cast it before casting Elspeth again and repeating the process. It actually can work really well sometimes just by pure fluke of who appears in first slot. Right, so let's take this one for a spin. You can run this team in a couple of different ways. You can use the top troop as a constant meat shield if you want, which is really good. Basically, you could run that top Princess Elspeth down on health if you wanted to before casting her. Use her as a meat shield, but for speed, we'll just cast her first and see who she gets replaced with. We have a Scarlet. 59 damage to an enemy, and if they're a beast, deal triple damage. The second Elspeth says, sorry, that is not that useful, be gone, who's next in line? All the while, this is going to be boosting up our damage from our Deathlock there. That was on, I think, 67 at the start of the game. You can cast our Ebon's hammer. This is going to charge up the team. Now, if this troop is any good, if it does a decent amount of damage, you can obviously cast it. But we'll get our Princess Elspeth ready while we can. Now she does her scratchy beard thing, and High Paladin is wondering if he's going to survive or not. Is it worth casting that first? Yeah, we'll do that. A little bit of damage before Elspeth says your job is done, get out of here. And then, oh, we have a man at arms. That's not the greatest thing to replace the top troop with when Princess Elspeth's around and in a grumpy, bad, kill everything kind of mood. Let's see if we can get the hammer charged up. If not, we'll get Elspeth ready to do her thing again. We are ready to go with the Mythic. He's on 103 damage now, so can we get that death mark going? Don't care about that. Let's get the Elspeth charged up again, if we can. Any blue? Any yellow? Anything that I used? That'll do. Top troopers just died from death mark, which is really good. Let's get rid of man at arms, get a replacement. Everybody's charged up. We're now on 115 damage to all enemies. Death mark the top troop. They're dead. Elspeth says, what do? He says, I give all armors 41 armor. That's really good, isn't it? Elspeth says no. Get out of it. It's going to be a lot of mana gen for the team. Damage to the 2 strongest enemies. Go on then. Oh, 1. Shall I be really cruel? And Elspeth says, look, all it was 1 more health. You had 1 job. Go away. She's cruel. But now, yeah. But you can see how it can boost up the Mythic pretty well. And it's pretty survivable as well. This is going to kill them because of the explosion. But, yeah, and you can just constantly use that top troop as a meat shield. So that is actually quite a fun team to use. If a little bit slow, but it's the nature of the Mythic and not a lot you can do about that, I don't think. But there's the teams. There's the video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you have not done so already. But most of all, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you again next time. Bye for now.